This Capricorn new moon isn't playing. With Mars and Mercury locked in a power struggle and gate 60 flung wide open, we are entering a portal of strategic clarity, collaborative momentum, and bold, dark feminine reclamation. If you've been feeling the urge to plan your next move, now's your time to rise. Hello and welcome to Sacred Strategy. My name's Andrea Corbett, and I guide women over 40 to reclaim their voice, reclaim their identity, and to stop shrinking in life and business. I hand you over to my co-host Chantilly.
Hi, I'm Chantilly, and I do brand strategy. I do divine feminine coaching, and I use astrology and tarot to help you understand who you are so you can express that in your brand.
Thank you. One thing I did forget to mention on my intro, and I'm going to leave this bit in, is
All right.
I use human design gene keys with a sprinkle of astrology. How can I
Right.
possibly forget that? Now, as usual, if you've been following this channel, Chantilly picks our card for the episode, and so I hand you back over to her.
All right. Let's get to shuffling here. What is the energy for today? What is the main energy for today? Got my oceanic deck today. So I'm
Ooh.
back with the mermaid.
Like I said last time, each to their own.
I'm gonna get a deck you like. Hold on. Watch. All
I'm not saying I
right.
don't like them.
All right, so this is the Eight of Pentacles.
Okay.
Okay, so um with the Six of Cups, okay, and the King of Pentacles. So we focus on letting old things go that are keeping us from getting to the money. Basically. Like no nostalgia, you and this is a continuation, I feel like, from last week when we were saying we cannot do things the same way
Yep.
because of the winter solstice. Is no way. So you
Mhm.
can't be stuck in your emotions. You have to be grounded, especially with this Capricorn moon. Capricorn is an earth sign. So we have to be really not thinking of what stuck in the past where I made money this way in the past. Maybe I can make it this way again. No, no, no. We need to master something with the Eight of Pentacles. We need to make sure that we are mastering something, a skill to the point where we can teach it to somebody else. Get
Okay.
that because Capricorn is not a sign that where you kind of go all over the place. It's not like Gemini. It's
Okay.
it's it's like when you work with Capricorn, because Capricorn is a very slow moving planet, it's all about being disciplined and doing the same thing over and over and over until you master it. It's all about mastery.
Okay.
Okay. And because of the way that I do Vedic astrology, the nakshatra that it's in, it has a lot to do with victory. So we have to have some type of discipline and a skill or discipline in something that we master for us to get to the energy of victory.
Wow.
So that's
Okay.
why I got the cards.
And that makes a lot of sense because, like you say, if it really does feel like a continuation. Because when
Hmm.
we spoke the last time, I felt that that was a bit of a drag, not in a bad, in a negative way, but in a way, in an
Yeah.
eye-opening way. Like, oh my gosh, this is. I felt that. When I say drag, I
Hmm.
mean I felt that really touched me. It rocked a
Right.
nerve. Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Okay, and learn and that's what I've been sitting with for a very long time in terms of like what is it that I want to how do I want to support these women that I'm working with? And like I said, that I feel like I mentioned this the last time, that's why I got down to it. Identity and confidence is the foundation to all of the work that I do. So regardless
Right.
if we're doing business by your design, we have to work on your identity and confidence so that you know who you're impacting. So then we know how you're going to make your money. So my formula is that identity plus impact plus income equals legacy. And it is that I did have to really sit with that for a long time. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense for me.
Yeah. All right. So where have you been? What's been going on with you this past week?
So this past week, like I mentioned, that is literally literally I feel like I when we do these recordings, and I know obviously we do it in the week of the new moon or the full moon, and
Hmm.
I feel the energy at least a few days before
Yeah.
it, or not even a few days, because then this is falling on the Sunday, which we've got about another 5 or 6 more days. But I feel
Hmm.
the energy, and I feel like I've been sitting in this energy for these last couple of days now, and like, what is it that I want to really go forward with? What do I don't want to, I know I don't need to learn anything new, but I do know I need to be um strategic about the things that I
Right.
am putting out and why am I putting out. And it's like what you said, how can I teach one? What I
Hmm.
want to do, I want the women to be able to come into my community and be able to read their own chart, understand their own chart, and not just having
Yeah.
to have readings for me. And what does this mean? I want you to understand it. I
Yeah.
want them to embody it. And so that's I'm working out how do I do that? And I feel I've got to a fine point of where that can now happen. So that's
That's
literally what I've been
good.
sitting with for the last few days or so. Yeah. Yourself?
Yeah. Where you are with strategy, I'm the same way with strategy, but I'm like strategy, structure. Like this
Mm,
is where like that's where I am right now.
yeah.
So I'm still in it. It's like I'm in between like the energy of full moon in Cancer, where I'm still creating structures around being a mother, kids, stuff like that, but also going into the Capricorn new moon where we're focusing more on career and things like that. So just creating structures and strategies all the way around. Like
Yeah.
I want my whole life to be like I want my whole life just to be automated. Like like I don't want to think about nothing. I just want to be creative. Everything else, I just want to be like a robot almost.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that one. Well, with that being said, shall I just go straight into doing for our gate 60?
Hmm.
So, gate 60, I've got my notes here, so I'm gonna get my iPad because I'm not gonna try and say that I know this all off by heart. So, gate 60 sits in the root center, and there's been a theme throughout. So we've been in the root center for a while now. So the root center, and that's why I feel we have that pressure of wanting to do more. How can I change things? What needs to be changed? And where am I going in the long term direction and not just about the short
Hmm.
term direction? And I think you mentioned it, but I've got it here though that Capricorn rules. Am I right in saying this? Please correct me if I'm wrong. But Capricorn rules structure and
Hmm.
responsibility and long term direction. Yeah.
Right.
So there we go. And it's not about chasing quick wins. It's a really
Right.
but then with the gate 60 sitting in the root center, the root drives pressure and the pressure to begin, the pressure to move, the pressure to evolve, the pressure that links to survival, growth, and life force. So you want to do this, you want to move, you want to grow, that, but then you might be pressured to think that you have to do everything all at once or very quickly. But it's not
Yeah.
about chasing those quick wins. It's slow and steady wins the race, as they say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the root theme is about foundation and stability. So that's why that's slow and steady because you're creating the foundations and stability
Hmm.
for where you want to go to next. And I myself, I know I'm being guilty of those quick wins, and the quick wins don't last. They're there for the moment, but then they're not there for the long term. And we want going forward to be, the long term. So the root frequency band runs through stress, so a drive and evolution. So stress here does not mean harm. Stress means movement. So the stresses in your life, they push you. So we all need a little bit of, not I want would I need stress all the time? Not necessarily stress, but we all need that little push to move us
Uh-huh.
forward. I know I definitely do. Sometimes when it's not, oh yeah, I don't have much work to do, then I can just sit back and cruise, you know.
Right.
But when you got a
Then you get a
deadline to meet,
timeline.
you got
Yeah.
yeah. So it is about giving yourself timelines and okay, how long are you going to give
Hmm.
yourself to do X and how long are you going to give yourself to do Y? And I know I
Hmm.
definitely need that. So gate 60 is about limitation and it's also known as the gate of acceptance of limitation. So some people might say
Okay.
gate of acceptance or in the I Ching it is a limitation. But limitation is not failure. Limitation
Right.
means what is real. So it's like time, energy, money, health, and support. They all shape how you grow. And so, for example, your time sets how much you can do. Your energy sets how fast you can move. Your money sets what you can build. And your health sets your rhythm. And so your support sets how much you can hold. So you need all of those. And you don't want to limit yourself, but you need all of those to ensure that what you need to get done gets done. And that's why you need to have a structure, because if you're just giving away your time, then you're limiting yourself on how much you can actually do. If you're not looking
Yeah.
after your health, you're limiting yourself on how fast you can, what you can actually do because you're not healthy enough to do it. So you need to
Hmm.
look in these areas of life and make sure that you're not limiting yourself. What is real? Be strategic about what is real. Yeah. So growth does not ignore these things. So all these things work in tangent together and they all work together. So when you respect what you truly have, your growth stays ready. Sorry, your growth stays
Hmm.
steady. And I think this is what you
Right.
said, mentioned in the last episode when you said being grateful for the things that you have. And I said, oh, I have access to lots of resources, but I'm not actually utilizing all of those resources.
Uh-huh.
And so
Uh-huh.
it says it's just what it's saying here, when you respect what you truly have, then your growth stays steady. And so, if I'm utilizing all the resources that I have, then I can steadily grow because I know I've got things to turn to. Yeah.
Hmm.
So gate 60 says growth only happens inside structure. So no structure, no stable change. I needed to hear that. When I that I I don't like structure necessarily, but I know I need structure. And like it's
Hmm.
like what we said, if you give yourself too much time, then what does it say? Something about idle hand, and I can't remember the saying, but
I
an
think it's
idle.
something about the devil's playground or something like that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, but we won't bring him into it or that. But
Right.
yeah, but yeah, but just idle time. You don't want idle time. All right, so we had this show up for as our focus, both of our focus is for women in business. I've got a section here. So gate 60 shows up as urgency. So you want progress, you want movement, you feel tension when systems, money, or time or energy is slow. So you want this is happening, but gate 60 teaches discipline with reality.
Yeah.
Don't say you're going to do a million and one things when you don't have the time to do a million and one things. You know,
Hmm.
just do the one and leave the million when you've got the
Right.
time to do it. Okay, so it's not about fantasy timelines, it's not about borrowing other people's models, and it's not about comparing yourself to anybody else. It's about
Hmm.
limiting what you have. And if we use the word accepting yourself for who you are and what you can
Right.
do and what you can manage. Yeah. So if we look at that from the gene key, so that was gate 60 in terms of human design. Now, in gene keys, as we know, it comes in your shadow, gift, and what they call your siddhi, which is like your higher self. And with the shadow, it uses the term limitation. So with that, as we've spoken about, at your at the shadow level, limits feel personal. So that those limits, you're taking them on board as woe is me, it's because of me, or this is me, I'm not good at this, I'm not that. And so you limit yourself. Yeah. So
Right.
again, in business, this shows up as comparison, or you might start to overwork or ignoring your body signals. And like what we're saying about that time, the health, they all work in tangent together. You need to make sure that you're being realistic about all of those things and not ignoring those. But then when we move into our gift of realism, realism means honest sight. So you see time available, energy available, money available, support available, skill available. It's about truth. And you've gone from being in the shadow of a limitation to realism now. And you've understood what you need to do, be and have in order to be who you are, accept yourself for you. I can't do something because it works for you. What works for you doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for me. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
realism. And so if you align that with what I call aligned action, because we can all do lots of action, but if it's not aligned, then it don't,
Right.
you know, you can be busy doing nothing, basically. Yeah. So, in terms of the city, which is the higher self, so city of justice. So, justice means in the right order. So, life flows when action matches your truth. So, you know what you said before about you want everything in your life to look like it's a robot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that you are in the shadow, but it's if you was in the shadow of limitation, but then you want to get into what is real for you, and then once you continue that journey of what is real for you and make it consistent, then the city is like you just naturally flow in there. Once you're repeating the gift level over
Right.
and over and over, then getting into the city, it's just a natural next step and a natural progression that things will become robotic, things will become automated for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because everything you're matching, everything is all in alignment. Your offers match your energy, your schedule matches your body, and that's because you've
Right.
done it over and over again now. So you're used to that way of working. So that's
Right.
the differences between the shadow, the gift, and the city. So yeah, so that's the gene key 60 and what it looks like from the gene key perspective. So I feel just to wrap up, it's just a case of gate 60 teaches leadership through truth. You do not grow by fighting your limits, you grow by mastering your limits, and you
Mm-hmm.
lead through discipline, not force. So this new moon invites you to start something honest, structured, and steady. Not fast, loud, not borrowed. Just be you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
my CIC, which is a community interest company, it was called Focus on Creating Your Ultimate Self. And that's what just came to me then. We all need to focus on creating our ultimate self in order to be who we want
Mm-hmm.
to be, do, and have going forward in this new moon. Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm starting to learn a little bit. When you were explaining K6, I was like, okay, look at me connect. I'm finally starting to connect the dots a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were saying with gate 60 and acceptance, when I first saw it, when you said it was about acceptance, I was thinking it had something to do, well, it is self-acceptance, but I was leaning more towards just accepting yourself for who you are, which is the same thing. But when you were more specific, as you saying just now, it's about accepting your limitations,
Mm.
which is a part of self-acceptance. So that made things a lot more clearer. So I'm like, okay, I'm understanding how the different gates are connected to the zodiac signs, because that's how Saturn is the planet that rules Capricorn, and gate 60 is in Capricorn. So okay, now it makes sense because Saturn helps you be realistic about what your limitations are, and it can even create limitations for you and create delays and things for you, until it knows, like, because like it's going back to mastery. It has to know that you're ready to do something, and how it teaches you, or yeah, how it teaches you and trains you that you are ready to um uh, go be on your journey to mastery or accept the rewards from mastering something, is through doing things that are really hard, and doing things that are really hard, and constantly and consistently doing what you need to do anyway, being responsible anyway, being disciplined anyway,
Mhm.
staying focused on your goals anyway. Because a lot of the gods that are connected to Saturn, they have some type of, like, it's something they have. One with the Vedic astrology, the mythology is like it's a little boy that has a problem with his leg and he can't walk and he has to, learn how to walk. Or with the Orishas, Yoruba Orishas, is a guy that's like covered with straw, and he has to do what he needs to do through a sickness and disease. Um So it's like understanding what your limitations are and doing it anyway.
Mhm.
And that is a part of leadership. Because, like, have you ever had a leader who did not know what their limitations were and they kept trying to do the thing that they weren't good at, that they should have delegated to somebody else?
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, you need to do something else. Like, this is not your strong point. Like, know what your strong points and weak points are, because you keep operating in this weak point and it's throwing everybody off.
But can I just
So
add in there? It's not even just about
yeah.
knowing a leader, because I myself, I know in business, when I first started out, we try to do everything. We try to be
Mhm.
everybody. And at some points, we have to delegate. But I know
Right.
for some people that, and I know for myself, it was that in the beginning, like finances are not always there to delegate. And so
Mhm.
even though you know your limitations, I feel it comes back to that being that realism. You know that you're not good at this and you know it's not going to come out perfect, but
Right.
you still have to do it because otherwise if you don't do it, then there's no one else that is going to do it. So,
Mhm.
but in terms of if you're in a career and you have a leader that, like what you're saying, should just delegate, then there's some people that just don't know how to delegate. They feel like they need to do everything themselves,
Yeah.
which is not always
Yeah.
the case.
Yeah. It's
So,
not. I'm having PTSD right now. I have flashbacks from managers. But so so there's like 3 points I wanted to make when it
okay.
comes to this new moon. And the first one is because Mars and Mercury are together in Capricorn. Mars is action and boldness and courageousness. I don't think that's a word, but it's
Yeah,
being
yeah,
courageous.
yeah. What it is
Courageousness.
now.
Okay. But it's just, taking action, being bold, being courageous. That's Mars. Mercury, though, is communication. So with those two together in Capricorn, which is being ambitious and mastery, like we talked about, there could be some conversations that need to be had. Even starting now, I'm starting to see. Um, but especially after the new moon, some conversations that need to be had, that they might not be the easiest conversations, but they're going to be necessary for us to have with people, and these conversations will help us reach our goal.
Mhm,
So if we could just, like, if you might just think about what is the conversation I need to have with somebody that um it's going to take a lot of boldness for me, but I know that it's necessary to have to help me reach my goals,
mhm,
that'll support my ambitions. And a lot of these conversations, like, that's from you to someone else. But there also could be conversations that other people have with you that kind of get you back to reality a little bit, like get you together a little bit. You're like, I don't really love this conversation, but it's necessary for me to, get back grounded, get back to earth, and recalibrate myself to get back focused on, what I need to focus on to get back to reality. So with Mercury and Mars together, that is important um to understand. And you said something too, like, when you if you're honest with yourself and you say, like, these are my limitations, I'm understanding what my limitations are. Something that you can't do, what you said, is compete with other people, because your
mhm,
limitations are not going to be somebody else's limitations all the time. So you can't be looking at other people and say, well, they can do this, I should be able to do it too. If you can't, then either you need to delegate or you need to work on mastery, just like, we're talking about. You need to be disciplined and keep working at it until you can do something better. But you cannot compare. But I think comparison is something. Competition, competing with other people, and comparing ourselves to other people is something that we need to be aware of during this new moon, because of those two planets again. Both of them have a connection with competition, because Mars has to do with sports. So it's a lot of wanting to be the best, and which is a good thing.
mhm,
Um, and then Mercury also has a lot of competition, where it could be um it's more mental. So, like, being critical of your, like being down on yourself or criticizing other people or criticizing yourself because you're not considering yourself the best at a skill or something. Um, so
Can I just
being
interject there a bit while I
uh-huh.
remember? Is that okay? So does
Mhm.
that mean because my Virgo, I mean, my sun is Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury, does that have
Right.
an effect in any shape or form?
Yeah. Well, you with the bodybuilding and the I think it's how you um are analytical and a lot of you like you can like see like I strive to be that analytical, but I'm not. Like where you can say, okay, see this, move this, and do this, and move this, and this. I'm like more of a big picture type of person,
Yeah.
so that's why, like when we were working on the thumbnail, I was like, okay, do you see anything else? Because I'm like, okay, I'm thinking about the big picture, and you're like, okay, well maybe do this and maybe do that. I'm like, okay, that's some more analytical things that I wouldn't have or I would have thought about it, but it would have took me a couple times, and then I would have figured it out. So yeah.
Okay. Just checking. Thanks. Sorry.
Yeah. Um. So, but do you feel like you're competitive?
I feel internally I am in terms of that mental competition. But even when it comes to the bodybuilding, I did it, and yes, obviously I became a British champion. But it wasn't because of my competitive drive. I got to beat this person. It was just I had to do it for myself mentally.
Right. So you feel like you compete with yourself.
Ah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Always competing with myself, and it's not always in a good way,
Okay.
because it's that whole you've got to do that. What I spoke about before, basically, that being I have been in the shadow period of limitation, and I'm not this, and I'm not that, and I have sat with that for a very long time, and
Mhm.
admittedly recently, and so yeah, all what you're saying and what we're both saying, makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That Virgo, you gotta, if you got a lot of planets in Virgo, you really got to make sure that you're not,
I
because
have. I got
that
like a stellium
analytical,
in Virgo.
yeah, that analytical energy can turn into self-criticism real fast. And it's like you don't almost don't really know the line, you know.
I'll just keep it quiet because otherwise it will turn into a therapy session.
So, yeah, so that's basically Mars and Mercury in Capricorn is watch out for those bold conversations that you might need to have. And when it this is another thing. Um when it is if you're on the receiving end of a very much needed conversation, even if it don't feel good, the best thing to do is not to get into your emotions because we're talking about Capricorn, which is an earth sign. Stay grounded and stay realistic. Focus on reality, not your emotions. Because if you get in your emotions, you might start to feel shame. You might start to feel guilt. You might want to not accept the what's being said because it doesn't feel good, and just say, well, this person just hate, this person just, don't do none of that. If there was something real that was said, even if the person didn't come to you in the right energy, if there's any type of anything that you could take from that conversation that was reality and it was truth, you need to take that because it's going to help you, like I was saying, it's going to help you to self mastery, and it's going to help you reach your goals and your ambitions. So that's the last thing.
Yeah.
I know because I experienced that.
That's what I say. Keep it going. Keep moving. Keep moving.
And just like you said, like most people say, like you start experiencing the energy of the new moon, and the full moon like 3 days before and 3 days after. But that's just numbers. It doesn't really matter. Because let me see. that conversation was Sunday. So, I mean, it's going to be around that time. So,
Mm, yeah.
don't think it doesn't matter because it's not exactly 3 days before the new moon because there is no such thing as time. So,
We leave that
so
for another episode.
right. So, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is how Mars is in Capricorn, and Mars, the planet Mars, is exalted in Capricorn. So it
Okay.
loves being in Capricorn because it adds that drive and energy to structure. Okay, so you're going to have a lot of energy to do something to get things done, but you want to make sure that that you use that energy in a very structured, a very strategic way, with it being in Capricorn. Oh, that's what I was about to say. Yeah, so you want to, okay, so this is the thing. So my Mars, I pulled cards to understand like what is the energy that I want to talk about when it comes to this new moon. And the card that came out, one of the cards that came out was the Three of Pentacles. And I feel like the Three of Pentacles, I call the Three of Pentacles one of my cards because I have Mars in Capricorn.
Okay.
And so what that represents is working with people. And this is important because Saturn and Capricorn people don't always like being around other people.
Okay.
And I know this because I have to make sure all the time I'm not isolating and I'm not trying to take too much on myself.
Mhm.
That I have help if I reach out for help, if I ask for help. But with me being Capricorn rising, I'm like, I can do it, I got it, taking on too much responsibility when you don't have to. And isolating when you don't have to. It's just easier, but that don't mean it's easier because it's what I know. But that doesn't mean I should be doing it, you
And
know.
can I just add in there as well?
Yeah.
If you're in human design, you've also got individual circuitry, so that means all of your all of your centers, they all link to each other. So you may have a split or triple split, but we you don't. All of your centers are connected, and so therefore you don't need you don't always need somebody to be, and I'm the same. I can literally sit in this room but no, I have to get out because like I need to speak to somebody other than
Right.
myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
So that might be a challenge for some of us.
mhm,
Is we have to collaborate. We have to learn because Saturn is a teacher. So there might be things that we need to learn from our elders or from other people, from mentors. We might need to have like the energy or the attitude of an apprentice in something so that we can get to the level of mastery that we need to get to. Because there's a strong connection with Saturn and Capricorn and humility. So we might have to humble ourselves and say, I need help with this. Can you teach me this? Or, can we work
mm,
together on this or whatever? So that was just another thing. We're gonna have to collaborate in some ways. We might need to teach people something. We might need to work in a group to learn something or to get something done. And we also might need to be taught something. But it's
okay,
gonna involve being humble, not being emotional, and allowing yourself to ask or allowing people to ask you for help too.
okay. And were they your three
And
points?
no, the third one, this and the last one, it's gonna be real quick. Is I noticed that there was a lot of sextiles connecting to the asteroid Lilith um in this new moon. So Lilith is in Sagittarius. So I believe that there's a connection, and not just that, that there's three um there's three different planets that represent divine feminine energy. There is Black Moon Lilith, which is in Sagittarius. That is the dark feminine energy.
Mhm.
Then we have the moon that's going to be in Capricorn. That's the light feminine energy. And then we have Venus that's in Aquarius, but it's still connected to all the planets that are in Capricorn. And Venus represents the overall feminine energy. And they're all connected in some way, all three of those. And it's all they're all pointing to Lilith. And so with Lilith being in Sagittarius, there's I do believe that there's a lot of acceptance that we need to have when it comes to the divine feminine energy in us. Um and what what it means for you. Um because I we don't uh you can look online and see or people say, well, divine feminine energy means this or it means that, but it all comes down to like what does it mean for you. And because it's in the it's 12 houses away from the new moon, we want to think about our subconscious beliefs because the 12th house represents the subconscious mind. So we want to make sure we're not suppressing subconscious beliefs or feelings about what you should or shouldn't do as a woman, or what you should and shouldn't do with your divine feminine energy. Um, so I don't want to get deep into that, but it's a deep acceptance of um the dark feminine, and in some way accepting that energy will help us reach our goals. So it'll be different for everybody, but I do believe reflecting on subconscious beliefs around that will help us a lot. And that was
Okay.
my third point.
I wasn't rushing you, by the way. I thought, oh my God, it
Oh
sounds
no,
like
I
I
know
was.
you weren't. I know
And
you
that
weren't.
keyword acceptance coming back again. So
Hmm.
we've just come literally come full circle with that word acceptance, which is cool.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Thank you for that. Yeah. As I said, a lot of things that came up. Not a lot, but I resonated with what you were saying in terms of just yeah. I won't even go into it because I know I could go on for ages. So I'll just I'll just leave it as what I've already said. But yeah, thank you for that. One other thing that I did want to mention though for today is that in human design, so as well as having the new moon on Sunday, the 18th of January, on whatever day the 21st is, my days, the days all roll into one. On the 21st of January, we have the human design new rave year. So it's where the human design has 64 gates, which is like obviously the 64 gene keys as well, 64 I Ching. Um, but it always starts at 41. It doesn't go in numerical order. So
Okay.
on the 24th, sorry, on the 21st, we have gate 41. And again, that is also in the root center. So we've got a lot of pressure to begin a new story. So we've got the new moon to set our intentions, as well as having the human design effectively new year on the 21st of January at gate 41. And gate 41 brings along desires, longing, and the urge to experience something new. Yeah, so it asks us to like what stories wants to move through your life. And so
Hmm.
when you're creating those stories, if you look back on what you looked at for the new moon in terms of like where are you going with your realism? What are you accepting about yourself? And then probably creating a story from there on, and what do you want that your new story going forward to look like? And for me, I took that as this year is my story of being 50. You know, what do I want going into level 5 looking like? And so if we look at gate 41 from the 3 stages of gene keys, you've got the shadow equals fantasy, the gift equals anticipation, and the city equals emanation. So fantasy means like dreaming as an escape. You're just fantasizing about things. Yeah, you know, there's no harm in dreaming, but you need to be real about things. And planning without living, and wanting without building. You know, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm
Hmm.
gonna do that, but you haven't planned to do that. how do you know if it's going to work? And then you've got the gift level, which means like healthy desires. So you look forward to what comes next, you prepare without force, and you stay present. And then at the city, life moves through with it with you with ease. So your desire and action, aligned action without strain. Yeah, so you go from
Okay.
fantasy to having healthy desires because you've planned for those healthy desires. And then, like I said, with the city, when you're going into your higher heights, it's when you, because you've done the gift over and over again. So you've planned, the more you plan, the more you plan, the more you have healthy desires, then life just moves with ease. So again, it comes
Mhm.
back to your life being like automated and robotic. If you just stay in that
Mhm.
gift, get into the gift level of realism and healthy desire,
Right.
then you will eventually get into your higher self. But it does take that accepting yourself for who you are, knowing your limitations, and growing through honesty. So I won't go too much into the gate 41 because I don't want to like confuse people, but
Is
I thought it was
is
just useful.
41 in Pisces?
Is 41 in Pisces. Let me double check that. Sorry, this is what you.
Because when you're saying fantasy, that sounds a lot like Pisces, and since the new moon is on the 18th, it might be in Pisces on by the 21st.
Okay.
This just so I can make sure that I'm understanding the gates.
Okay. Now, now this is what you call sorry, on the spot right now because let's check gate 40. I'm just checking the software that
We
I
can cut it
have.
out if you want to, but I
No,
was
no, no.
wondering.
Do you know what? This is real. This is all real. So let's just go with the flow. Let me see. I'm trying to find someone with gate 40. So gate 40 says here aloneness, and is it in? No, it says gate 40 is in. No, I need to double check that. I need to double check that.
Okay,
I've got
that's
it that it's
fine.
in Virgo, but I don't know if that is actually accurate or not. And because I'm just looking at it like this now, I'm trying to think. You know when you got so many so much resources, that whole so much resources and don't know what to
Yeah,
look, that I don't know what to do with it. Now it's like, okay, where do I go to look for that? Um
40. You said 41.
oh, thank you for reminding what I said because I was just looking at the wrong number. Imagine I typed in gate 40. So this is what happens. So thank you. Thank you for reminding me of the number. This is because I'm rushing. I'm like, ah. Okay, so gate 41 is gate 4. No, it says Aquarius. So it's kind of
Okay, that's on its way to
on its
Pisces.
ways to Pisces. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, we got there
Okay,
in the we got there. So,
we figured it out.
and I hope that's right as well. But I will confirm in our next episode.
Okay.
But this
All
is the
right.
thing, I'm still learning, and because human design and the 64 gates have their own meaning, the gene keys have their own meaning, it's a lot to learn and remember and know and understand.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I'm still in the learning curve here. But this is why we do what we do, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. So, have you got anything else that you want to discuss before I'm just gonna, sorry, bear with me. This is live in action again because my laptop decided it wants to for it to.
Um, no, it's just I think that the main thing that came out with the cards and that I keep picking up on is keep emotions out of it for right now.
Yeah.
Keep emotions out of it because that's what's gonna um that's what's gonna stall us and keep us in an energy that's not really. We need to focus on what's real right
Okay.
now. Be realistic on reality and not too much focus on. There's a time we always need to pay attention to our emotions, but we can't let them lead the show at the all right now. At all. Yeah. So
So
that's
paying
the main thing.
attention and being real, my laptop's about to die, so I need to really
Uh-oh.
get going. If you're not to, again, I feel like I keep rushing you. Like this is
Oh no,
just
you're not.
Yeah, so I've got some new cards. And so what I want to do is actually, so what I want to do is, if that's okay with you, before we end,
Mhm.
and just to make sure that we have finished, right?
Right. I'm done.
So I got some new cards. I got the Moonology Message Oracle cards, and I thought it'd be good that you open us up with your cards, and I could end with a Moonology message, which I thought was in
Hmm.
in alignment with what we're doing here. So just gonna oh gosh, I'm not one for I'm not the greatest card puller, but I'm just gonna oh gosh, we've got a few that fell out. I'm not gonna pick those. If one doesn't fall out now, I will pick one myself. Otherwise, otherwise we'll be here for 8. Oh, here we go. We've got one that fell out. So, we got Moon Goddess. I don't know if you can see that. Moon Goddess, higher,
Okay.
higher power. Yeah, so that don't know what that represents. So I've just got the book, so I don't
Uh-huh.
know. Uh, oh, look, here we go. Higher power. So additional meanings for this card: connect to the divine, spend a month with the moon, ask for help, don't go it alone now, and call in the goddess. So, about this
Hmm.
symbol, it's easy for us to act from ego and think we can solve all of our issues. However, there are higher powers just waiting for us to ask for help. They can even help you via these very oracle cards, so pay attention.
Hmm.
Yeah. So the whole
Yep.
message was the situation you're asking about may feel impossible, but you are magical and have celestial support. The goddess is on your side. Whatever you're facing, she's bringing you healing, grace, and blessings. You're facing a soul challenge right now. You need to move through it to know how strong you are. Mere mortals often give up when they face tough challenges. But if you're reading this or listening to this, you're not a mere mortal. You know that you are connected to a higher power, including all the goddess or all the goddesses who are there for you. Tap into that power. The goddess is wise and wants to guide you. Connect by getting out in nature, under the moon, or through chanting or meditation, whatever feels right for you. Which goddess should you reach out to? That's entirely up to you. If you don't already have a favorite goddess, search online and see who feels most drawn to you. Whatever you're going through now, you don't need to handle it on your own. The goddess awaits you.
Hmm.
I think that's quite beautiful to, especially going through and making your own story. You didn't have to go through it alone. I think you mentioned about help as well and
Hmm.
collaborating and getting
Yep.
help. So this is the card that, as you saw, flew out for us to end to
It kind of
celebrate.
wrapped everything up that we said.
And I did it on
Yeah.
screen. You saw that I just,
Yeah. She
So
popped
yeah.
out for a reason.
So your higher power, your moon goddess. I think that's
Hmm.
nothing else to say on that really, apart from thank
Right.
you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hype. Share with your family, friends, neighbors, whoever you feel that would needs to listen to this. Thank you very much for joining us. Oh yeah, and don't forget to leave any, questions you have for us in the comments. Yeah. Anything, any last words, Chantelly?
This is the last thing I'm gonna say. When you were talking about that card was basically talking about the divine feminine, and
Oh,
I was just thinking about how a lot of women um we have to be independent, and some of us have to retrain ourselves. Like asking for help is something that you can do that's in alignment with divine feminine energy. So because we attract what we want, so we should be able to just ask. So ask is nothing wrong with asking, but a lot of us are so independent because we have to be that we just say I'll do it myself or I'll just do it myself. So that's what I was thinking. That's all I
And I
was
know we said this is, I just gave the whole spiel about we're ending, but just to add to that, and we always got to have the last word, but just to add
saying.
to that, what I mentioned about us both having the individual circuitry, not needing anybody else. So I know for myself, I find it difficult. And this could be a
Hmm.
whole another episode, which we won't make it into right now. So I'm going to end it on there. If you feel like that aligned with you, please leave a message in the comments and we look forward to reading them. It's a goodbye from us, and we'll see you our at the full moon in a couple of
Right.
weeks. See ya.